Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch with some unfortunately timed news. You see, just yesterday I did a video about Core. It's kind of a new game engine slash Dreams-like experience, but for the PC, built on top of Unreal Engine. I'm not going to get into a lot of details about that because literally I just did a video about it yesterday. That video you can see up in front of you right now. I will link it down below. So we're not going to go into Core itself, but where I'm saying this is kind of unfortunately timed is there's a contest that was just launched around Core, and that is the topic of this video. Along with that, we're going to go into a little bit about what the modeling is involved, and then we're going to get in a little bit into the education resources available to you if you are interested. So what we are looking at today is a new contest that was launched, a collaboration between Core and American McGee. You may know the name American McGee. He was one of the designers on Quake. Then he made the really, really well-regarded, but I think poor-selling American McGee's Alice, an Alice in Wonderland first-person shooter from the was that in the 90s? God, I'm feeling old. Anyways, those two are working together to do this contest, and that's kind of the extent of it. Basically, this is inspired by the art from Through the Looking Glass by American McGee. So American McGee created a bunch of concept art, and what you're trying to do here is more or less recreate it or create something like it or in the vein of it, but using the built-in tools in the Core game engine. So the theme here is Alice in Wonderland. It's Lewis Carroll's world. We're not going to get into what other stuff Lewis Carroll did. And American McGee's reimagining of it is ripe for exploration. We'd love to see your interpretation. This starts literally today as of noon, and it goes until the 31st of May. So you've got the month of May to work on it. Submit a high-quality image of your work built in Core to their Discord channel. Also do a link to your published work. You can publish directly on the Core platform so they can go and check it out. So you've got to make basically a screenshot rendered from within Core. There's some rules on how you can touch it up or make it look better or whatever, and then link to the work that you created. And again, the theme is Alice in Wonderland. So if you want to get started, Core is a free download. You join their Discord server and you start making art. Again, you have all of May to go for it. All entries must be created in Core. That's kind of about it. So you've got also an article here. I'll link that. We'll look at that in just a second. This is for kind of art direction of the way that Core's art theory works and why they did what they did. Because unfortunately, you can't just import in an object file or an FBX file or something like that into Core. You're actually building using composition. We'll see that in just a few seconds. But if you're interested, what are the prizes here? First prize is a $1,000 Amazon gift card, an American McGee signed concept art, a portfolio review, a Cheshire Kitten plush, which, by the way, I want one of these. We'll look at that in just a second. Second prize, you're looking at $500. Again, concept art that was signed by American McGee, portfolio review, and a Cheshire Kitten plush. So if you want McGee's feedback on your art portfolio, you get that in here. And then finally at third, you get a $250 Amazon gift card and a Cheshire Kitten plush. And then we've got a 4th to 10th prize where you're looking at a $100 gift card. So unfortunately, you're not getting the plushie, which is the greatest prize here. Well, maybe $1,000. No, it's the plush. And then on top of that, you get an exclusive image for your Core profile if you participate in this. And the People's Choice Award is 2 $500 Amazon gift cards. So, yeah, that's basically it. You can see some of the concept art from American McGee, thematic art. You can drill down into it to, see a little bit more of the art that we were looking at. But you get the art style they're going for with this. And, yeah. So that's kind of the premise here. You're working from that art style to try and create that art inside of Core. The details are here. So basically on their Discord, you upload an image. It must be 16:9, 1080p resolution. You're allowed to do minor Photoshop finishing for things like depth of field, glows, etc. on your image, but that's it. Everything else should have been done in Core. What are the details of the portfolio review? If you win, one of the leading artists, oh, sorry, it's not McGee. It's actually Manicore that will be reviewing your portfolio. Potential reviewers include the art director, our lead character artist, and our lead environment artists. And they'll basically go through your art portfolio and give you feedback on it if you so wish. And People's Choice Award will be given to participants who post a photo of their creation, who tag Core, and include the hashtag #CreativeCore on social media and generate the most likes. So basically the most popular person on social media platforms. I get why they're doing that, but I never like that kind of contest, to be honest. It makes Twitter a spammy place. But anyways, that's the People's Choice Award. Your call. So we're going into here is the art director's, or he's the chief visual officer / art director's kind of feedback and document on the way art is done using Core. I'm not going to go into it, but here you can see kind of composition where you take various different pieces, you put them together to create compound object out of it. They use their own proprietary system. The whole idea here is that it does things like automatic UV remapping and so on. So those details are there. The cool thing here, we're going now kind of segueing off a little bit. This is American McGee's patron page. He's patron funding his Alice Asylum. And I'm just here for one reason. Here, where did you go? Where did you go? All right. One sec, I gotta find it. Okay, I thought it was right on his homepage. I had to do a little bit of drilling down, but here it is. This is the Cheshire Cat plush. That is one of the most evil-looking dolls I have ever seen, and it's the only plushie I've ever actually wanted. So that is what you can potentially win if you are one of the winners. All right, I take that back. I'd probably rather have a grand, but you can still see it's a cool-looking plush toy. So if you're interested in this, there are some learning materials out there. I will, again, link these in the linked article down below. This is probably, even though it seems to be slightly out of date, it does give you an idea how the composition-based approach works. So here you are creating pancakes. You start basically with a cylinder that has been scaled down, add a ring to it, change the material on it, add another cylinder in form of pancakes, add a particular material, a smart material turned off in this case, and then kind of just keeps layering those things on. Then when you get to the top, you're layering a second material on. This one is a layer of dirt to add kind of that textured look on top. And you add a chamfered rectangle on top here for the form of your butter. Obviously, check it to the color you want. And then we're using a liquid decal on top of it to give you that maple syrup look. So this is kind of how your modeling works. It is a composition based, and you are working from raw primitives. So I'm going to head on over to core for just a second. And here we see a kind of an empty scene. What we can do is come in here, we can go ahead and create a folder and call it, say, my gun. Let's say we were creating a gun. Inside of that, we could create a group. So right here, and this like, I don't know, gun. And then inside a group, we start basically building things up. So come in here, you're basically working from raw materials down here. Let me hit, I think it's V, we'll get rid of all the gizmos. So you see down here, you've got your just basic raw materials, and you start working from them. And a lot of what you're gonna use is the basic shape. So you've got the full alphabet here pre-modeled for you. And then we go into basic shapes, and we got more compound shapes. Or if you're working on a landscape, you can instead work with tile sets. These all kind of slot together. You got good snapping control for dealing with things. They're also releasing some new fantasy ones pretty much as we speak, or in the next release anyways. So go back here at basic shapes. Let's say you wanted to do something like, I don't know, again, a gun. You can start with a cube. You know, you can also do it this way. We'll search for a cube. You drop your cube in. There it is in the world. We use the standard keys, by the way. So use WASD to navigate around with the right mouse button handled down. And then you'll notice over here, you've got your move, rotate, and scale. Again, those are the standard hotkeys, WER, like so. So Q is normally select. WER goes between each one. So let's say we want to scale it in that particular in that direction. All right, there we go. So we got something as our base. Now let's say this was a metal-based gun, so I'll just come down here, we'll search for metal. And if we wanted to just search by materials, we could say boom, and then say materials. And then let's say we wanted metal diamond plate. Sure, boom, drop that in, our gun, our cube. So we'll call this, I don't know, gun body. And then we just drop that into our group. And by the way, we can save this all out. We can export this out as like a shared asset. I'll show you those in a second. Those go out of community content because that's what you're ultimately going to be sharing later on. So there we've got the one thing in. By the way, we can fine-tune control over it down here. So gun body. You see we've got control over our particular mesh and our particular material here. If we want, we can customize it. So we'll go there and then click in here. So you've got control over these are smart materials there. So we want to change out the rust color. We can do so there, and then we could change the amount of rust that's on our material. So it works a little bit like Substance Designer. All right, that's a lot of rust. Let's bring that back. And rust is generally more like an orange. So let's go ahead and change that out, and then boom. So you see how you can kind of mix that material in. And then you just keep going with your composition. So let's say we want to do a wood stock on here. Just drop in a wood cylinder. Just pick whichever one makes the most sense for you. Once again, scale it to match the size you want. We're going to sit here. We can rotate it. We can use the widget here, or we can rotate it here. So say we want to rotate that around the, what axis is that? I think I want to do it around the x-axis. So let's go 90 degrees. There we go. So we've got our basic stock down there. We're going to make this one wood instead. So let's come here. We'll drop a wood. Sure. Boom. So there is our wood. Now the material may not look how you want it because the UV scaling is going on there, but you do have control over that as well. You come back up in here, once again, go to your material. You can either turn off the smart material and have it just follow it, whichever one works the best for you. But if you do an override on it, you've got a little bit more options. Also, you've got control over how the texture is tiled on your material right there. But if we override it, then you see we've got control over how the wood is done. And we can also rotate the material. So if we thought it made more sense to be vertical, like so, we can rotate it out. And then, boom, there is our really ugly wood material. We can, again, drop that guy in over here. Now, you're noticing by default when I'm moving things around, it's snapping. That can be controlled up here. So you can change the snapping amount, or you can turn snapping off completely if you so wish. Let's do a smaller granular snapping around. So there we go. We're kind of centered under our object, mostly like that. All right, so let's go back in here. Let's go back to scale. Scale that guy out. Center that back down, like so. So then you've got a bit of a grip for your gun. I never said it was going to look good, but this is kind of how you work on things. And then once you've got things kind of working together, which, by the way, let's move this into our gun right there. I could do something like, again, the smart decal or decal. So come in here, and you're seeing we got a number of different ones. So here's, for example, is ivy. So we want to drape ivy over it. There is a decaling or decaling system built in. You can also scale it up. So here you can see I'm using a numeric scale instead. So there you can layer ivy or things, and then you've got a number of different ones to work with. So if you want to put some sand on there, we could drop some sand in. Obviously that is a lot of sand going on there. I would bring up the advanced settings. You got a little bit more control over, you know, how it is shown and how it is displayed. But yeah, that's kind of, get rid of that, it looks like crap. But that is kind of the idea here. You start layering things together, and you're also going to come in here. If you actually search for certain materials, you're going to find, actually that wasn't it, so barrel? Yeah, there we go. So if we wanted to work at a little bit more of a high level, we could do things like this, bring in an actual gun barrel. So let's grab that guy. We'll scale that up, not 51 times. 5 times, 5 times, 5 times. All right, there we go. So now you're a little bit more rapidly building your gun. And we could do here, let's rotate that guy 90 degrees, like that. And then you just literally snap it in place at the end of your gun. And my craptastic gun is starting to come together. So that is kind of how your modeling and composition works. You work from the primitives they work with there, and you just kind of keep building them up. Once again, I will link to this tutorial, kind of walks you through that whole process. But yeah, that is kind of it. Another neat thing that they've done, this kind of went live since my first video on Core, is they launched their Academy. Like I said, the timing was just flawless. If they had done both of these announcements today, I would have thrown them all in the same video, or if they'd done them all yesterday, they would have all been in the video, one video and done, but they didn't. So they've also launched Core Academy. It's basically a place to learn about Core. It's very, very early right now. Got courses in here though, but if you're interested in checking that out, Core Academy is available at learn.coregames.com. All right, that's it. So once again, if you want to check it out, Core is available. I did a video on it. Check that out. Goes into more details there. The instructions, the prizes, all that stuff, I will link this down below. But yeah, you've got the month of May. That's kind of the tool set you are working with. Obviously, you may have slightly more artistic ability than I do. The only thing that I'm seeing kind of missing from this sort of setup is I don't know of a way to a Boolean. I don't know how to subtract certain objects from other objects. And that is certainly a limitation that we've got with this. Otherwise, you're kind of dependent on their basic primitives, of which there are a lot, and their prefabs to work from. So, you know, they're going for a very interesting art style with this one. It'd be interesting to see. I'm actually going to use this month and the results of this to see how good people can come up with from working on this stuff, how Alicey and Wonderlandy they can actually make things look, because there's an organic, dark feeling to American McGee's work, and I'll be interested to see if this tool set is capable of capturing it. Obviously, I ain't good at it, but hopefully you are better. All right, that's it. So a new contest in Core. Trust me, no more Core coverage coming for a little bit. Even if there is another announcement today, I'll put it on Twitter. That's about it. So I hate to do back-to-back videos on the same subject. It's just a quirk of timing. So new contest. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of Core, and I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.